Yeah, that terminal goes there. This wire goes there. It's an earth. Someone's had it hooked. Whoever worked on this car at some stage hooked it straight up to that live post, and that's what's melted this wiring all the way through. I had to replace all those wires. So I was wondering why the hell that melted, and is it going to re-melt when I put it together? Now it won't. That goes there, not there. When you're fixing old stuff like this, you're always dealing with things that are problems. Like, it took me ages to just get that apart, and then like I tested the headlight, high and low beam works, but that obviously isn't working. So now I've got to try and get that old bulb out of there and see if we can salvage that part. Yeah, I got the bulb out, but half of that contact's missing. I'm gonna have to try and fix that, or if we can get another one, yeah, good, but I might have to jerry rig a new fitting into that. Right, wipers are in, hooked up. Couldn't remember how they went back in, to tell you the truth. It just took me a while to figure it out. Anyway, they're in now, so they actually bolt up under where the steering column mounts. That's where the bolts are, if you're ever looking for them. They're not over here. They're not over here, they're under where the steering column mounts. On the right-hand drive model anyway. Okay, I'm going to start making this dashboard look better. Now these, obviously they're not very nice looking. They got, looks like it's spent a bit of time in the sun or something. This is pretty nasty. That's all just crap. So it's something on here. I'm going to try and clean that off just quick. Getting hit by mosquitoes at the moment. But I'm going to pick one of these, probably that one. It looks to be might be the worst one, and I'm going to see how well I can make that look. I'm going to pull that apart and see what I can do with this and clean the face. A little video. I know the fuel gauge goes there. Well, I'm going to test that in a sec. That temperature gauge, tacho, that's just for my own personal reference. I'm pulling this apart at the back here. That just already got that one out. So I'm just undoing these wires. I'm just making a little code so I can remember how to put them back together. Like, I know they go to the heater, so that's yellow. Now it's yellow and blue, so I've just marked that on here. So I know those wires go there. I've done the same thing here. Well, I just put a 1 and a 2, and I'll put a 1 and a 2 there. But this is a plus and a minus, and it's actually marked on the gauge down there, so I don't have to mark that bit. Just stripped out, got all these out. I've got the speedo over there. Matt's just giving that a clean up. We'll see what it looks like. I may paint that. These things are no good. We've got to reproduce those little rings. The rest of that's all right. I've marked all the wiring loom so I know how it goes back together. I'll leave that wiring loom just sit there. I'm not going to pull that off. I'll take these little tonneau clip things off next and pull that off. Here's the speedo. I've popped the cover off it. That should clean up reasonably well. I'll be very gentle with it. You've got to sort of pull that apart to get that off. There's a little bit of writing in there. It's going to be hard to get at. I don't want to pull that out, but I may. It's not made to be pulled apart. We'll see what happens. Right, we've got this apart. This is a speedo. So now I'm going to clean that carefully. This thing here, got to see what I can do with that. But the way that's been put together, that is pressed into there. So it was a bit of a trick getting that out. But then that all goes back over that. It covers most of it anyway. So basically, that centerpiece, that little bit there is not going to get painted. I might brush touch a little bit of it, but you don't see any of that. Definitely, I want to keep that. See, that's why I pulled it apart, because that was all covered in shit. That'll get painted, that ring. I'm just going to see how good I can detail this now. I'm not going to try and pull that out, because of the rubber gasket, I doubt very much I'd get that back in. It will just fall apart. That's the last option anyway. There's no way I'll be able to get that one of them gaskets. I've got that back together. Come up pretty nice actually. You compare it to what it looked like. I've just still got to paint. I'm going to paint these rings on all of them, so that just covers that, and then it really looks nice. I'm very happy with how that came up. Now this one comes, unfortunately this one comes apart easier than these ones. So I'm going to have to operate on these to get them apart. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm about to do that now. Once I've got to do it without damaging that ring. But it's got to be a way. It's got to be a way. I'll get it apart. Now, this is the tacho. There's no screws to pull this one apart. It looks like this little lip here. I've got to bend that over to get that face off. And I'm about to try and do that now, and you can only do it so much before that starts to warp. Shouldn't be any problems. No pressure or anything, but I got that apart. You can see how I've had to lift that edge carefully all the way around. So more than likely I've put this back together, then tape it up and repaint that once it's back together. But I've got to lift this bit out like I did the other side now. Not the other side, the speedo. I've got that apart. That little gasket there, not much good, but we're going to keep it. I'm not pulling that out. There's no way. I'm going to do what I did the other one. It's good enough. I might be able to do something, but it's pretty much going back like that. Anyway, clean this up. I've put a minute scratch there. You probably can't see it. And just a little nick there. So I know that lines up with that. So that's got to go back on a certain way, and so does this actually, because that's got to line up. If that's out, we found that with the speedo. You know, you put it on a little bit, it's going to look stupid. That's got to be square. And I got that stuff all clean. Doesn't even look like there's a glass there now. I'll just give it a light blowout, and then I'll put it together. There's the tacho done. Just to show you what it looked like. Now that's what that looks like. I'm really happy with that. Okay, good news. These little gauges come apart. See those screws there? Just undo them and that pops off. So that's going to make life a lot easier. Yeah, I got that apart, but still got to try and pull this apart, because I don't know if you can see that, but it's cloudy around the edges. This fascia under there needs to be pulled apart, so I've got to bend that over all the way around like I did on the tacho. You have to do it to the fuel gauge and that too. I've just got to carefully bend that little edge over all the way around and pop that out. And got that apart. I'm not going to lie, that was pretty stressful, but it's going to be worthwhile. Whew. And I've marked it so I know pretty much where to put it back. Pretty happy with that. It come up nice compared to the other one. You can't even read this crap down the bottom. And get it to focus. Denso, Japan. Anyway, one gauge to go. They're all done. I've also got these O-rings that'll fit these ones. I need to get some bigger O-rings, and sweet. Very happy with that. I might as well do this one, then all the gauges are done. Sunday RV here. I want to wrap this up and go and watch the Grand Prix. I'll see if I can get this one done probably another hour. Here's the last one done. Look, $1 million compared to what it was. Anyway, that's enough for today. I'm going to go and have some food and watch the Grand Prix. Okay, now they're done, I'm going to clean up these other components. I'm just going to get these all looking nice, ready to put on. And that. This has to be painted. I've got to get a bulb for that. It doesn't have a cover as far as I know. That needs a little bit of straightening and fixing. The button for the glove box has had a bit of a flogging. This thing here, it's been painted, and I'm not putting it in like that. I'm going to do something to that, and I'm going to try and replicate that. But since it's been painted in some sort of metal flake paint, so I'll probably do something like that. I've got to keep this riding, so I'm going to have to just... I was thinking of doing a brush finish, like brushed aluminium, and keep this outer ring shiny, and then I can easily paint that. But if I paint it too much, that'll fill that in. It'll be hard to get that riding back. I definitely want to keep that riding, so I'll see what I come up with. Now I'm going to have to make a list of what I need. I need all new screws. I've got to go get them. I've got to get the O-rings. Anyway, enough talk. Stuff shined up good. All these lights work except for this one, the high beam. I've got to try and get that bulb out. It's jammed in there. That's all cleaned up nice. I repaired the end of that lock. I pulled that cap off. So I'm going to try and do this one as well. It's super ugly. I'm going to try and fix that. It might be too far gone, but we'll give it a go. But I've got to try and get this bulb out. It's jammed in there and it's not working. There's the one off the glove box. Whoop, just threw it on the ground. Still not finished, but I've got it sort of rough, very close. A little bit more filing, and it's done. One S600 glove box lock repaired. Very happy with that. Just fixed some black on that. I found a bulb. That all works. That's fine. I've tested every single thing, all the gauges, all the lights, everything. I've got them all working. So everything I know is working in the dash. I don't have to look back out and muck around with that. All these things all shined up. They come up good. Nothing wrong with those. They'll look good. That little switch there, I forget exactly how much it is. That's the horn. Hundreds they want for that. That's come out Mickey Mouse compared, you know, it was all damaged. That thing was just about, you know, I couldn't quite get that last little dent out of it, but that's fine compared to what it was. I've painted these. They go in there. Like, ultimately they'd get chromed, but it's not my car. You know, that's been polished. I'm going to go and buy some crinkle paint that in crinkle, and this stuff here. Where is it? That stuff. That's the bottom part of the dash. So now I'm going to pull these out, and I'm going to decide whether I'm going to paint this or just see how it'll come up. Like, it doesn't really need painting. Now that's next, and then I'm going to, this is the last piece, I'm going to just decide the best way to fix that. I'm going to clean these up. They're just a bit grubby looking. Shine them up. And I'll either do that next, this next, or that. I'll just decide. So my plan, I've sanded and polished this lip and taped it off. I'm going to throw that in Aqua Blaster and see what happens when I blast this face. I gave that a little sand blast with a dry blaster. So see what happens. I don't know what that finish is, but it doesn't come off with anything I've put on it. I've tried all sorts of stuff, thinners, acetone, paint stripper. I don't know what it is. I think it could be anodizing. Well, I was pretty crook yesterday. I didn't go to work. Anyway, I ended up aqua blasting this. It took a lot to get that, whatever that finish off, that took a lot to get that off, and in places it's damaged where I've polished, so I've taped that off with waterproof tape. I'm gonna sand it with some 1500 and then rebuff it. And then I'm thinking of flicking some silver over that. I'll dust some primer on it, flick some silver on it, one coat, let that dry. Then I'll put one coat of clear, and then I'm going to do the writing in black, sand that back off, and then I'm going to give it a couple of coats of clear, and I'm hoping that will do. See all those little marks there? Anyway, that's the reason why I couldn't just leave it the Vapor Blast finish, or just a brush finish. It's still going to have these, so I'm going to have to prime it and try and sand that out of it. And then I'm going to have to go over all these letters with a pin, so of course they're about as deep as the lettering. Either that or I'm just going to have to leave it there. We'll just see what happens. Just paint strip this stuff. It's obviously part of the dash, the lower section. This up here was all rusty. I've sanded it and I've put that rust kill stuff there. Not sure if I'm going to paint that yet. I haven't tried to clean it. We'll see. See if it cleans up. I had to weld a couple little holes in this. I used my new helmet that I bought. Yeah, good. I can look straight at the sun with these glasses on. No problems. I can turn right down. My helmet was getting old. Oh, this is the stage I got this up to last time, and I buggered it up. I tried to highlight it with acrylic paint, no good. I'm going to try and highlight it with enamel. You can put enamel over acrylic, but you can't put acrylic over an big job restoring all this. You got to paint everything. Like this is, I've paint stripped that, I've wire wheeled it, I've sandblasted, and I've also given it a coat of that stuff just for the road. Same as up here. I've done everything now except for that, the actual dash, and it's covered in something, so I'll give it a clean so I can clean it. If not, I'll paint it. But this stuff here gets painted in crinkle paint, even that. Man, what a job. It's getting there. I've got to give this a coat of clear now. And I've washed that down 3 times and sanded it. I didn't like the look of it when it cleaned up, so it's getting painted. And a few coats of black. These 2 parts here are ready to paint. This one here had a little bit of damage. There was a couple of holes there that I welded. And I just whacked a little bit of 2-pack bog over there. I'm just about to sand it down, and that crinkle paint's direct. I did a little test here because I've got to paint this part as well. I'm pretty happy with that crinkly finish. It looks quite good. But I painted a bit of it on my bog board here just to do a test, because it says direct to metal, but if I had to paint this part like that, where I've put the filler, it would be shiny. It would be flat. So that's why I did that test. That didn't go crinkly there on the bog, but that's pretty close to the factory look. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is prime this, and then I'll put that crinkly stuff on it and see what happens. But at least it'll be all one colour. It won't be crinkly in bits, and then I would have had to strip it all back off. Look at that. It takes ages to get all that crap off and prepare everything. I only want to do it once. It's not 100% dry, but that's the finish of it. I'm pretty happy with it. That's pretty much what it looked like. There's that and that. I've done every single thing now on this dash. Everything. I've tested every light bulb, all the wires. I've tested all the gauges, all the switches. Everything works. The only thing I've got left to do is paint that. And if it comes up crinkly, it comes up crinkly. But at least it'll be all one, continuous finish. It's not going to be crinkly here and where the bog was smooth. I've already started cleaning this up. I forgot we had this part. I'm looking at that thinking, what the hell goes there? I didn't think we had it, but I'm just cleaning up all these switches and everything and putting it in. It's actually in quite good condition. But I was just looking up that S600 that sold for a world record the other day, and actually yesterday it was another one sold and broke that record, $104,000 US for one that was restored 20 years ago. These little cars are really going up in value. Man. Anyway, I'm restoring these switches, putting this stuff on. I forgot we had this. So I'm looking at that thinking, man, where are we going to get that from? But we have it. That's awesome. Just like that, it's restored. That took me about 15 minutes. I even rewired those knobs and everything. Cleaned up like a champ. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's going straight on. I think there's a little bit of that missing. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think this part of that's missing. But that's nothing. I'm sure we can work something out there. That's gold. I didn't think we had that. For some reason, I forgot we had it. That goes up in there. Sweet. Yeah, just talking about that little car, it's exactly the same colour scheme as this one. It's the white with red and black, where we're having black. The only thing's different, the chassis is black. We've got a grey chassis. That's 160,000 Australian dollars. My son picked a good car, I'll give him that. Starting on assembly. This speedo goes in a certain way, I just got to try and figure it out. I'll get that all back together. It's turned out quite good. I'm more than happy with that, the way it was to what it is now. It's night and day. Now I'm just going to throw it in, hopefully. Just been going over these wires, making sure they're where I want them. Also, I did paint down in there black. I didn't want to get this all together and look in there and see white. So this is ready to put in. Should be anyway. Okay, the dash is in. I don't know why, but when you pull something apart, you don't take that much notice. You pull it apart. When you put it back together, nothing fits. The dash come up really nice. I've got that in, but what I'm finding out is there's bits missing off this car. I've put those trim pieces in, There's a piece missing there. It's the same on this side. Now there's something missing here. That's not a, wouldn't have been finished like that. There's something missing. Okay, just about to install this. This switch has got this part missing. We just bought one off Yahoo auctions in Japan, a brand new one, factory part. Got it for 90 bucks. Great buy. And I'm installing this now. This car never did have heaters. So it's the M model had a heater. This one doesn't have it. So I have a spare one of these switches I found in our parts supply. Okay, there's the dash all in. Everything's hooked up. In June, we get a brand new one of them. We've already bought it. We bought it last night, but we could get it posted here. There's no rush. My in-laws are coming here in June. They're going to bring that. Plus there's a thing here that says Honda. We bought one of them as well. So that is completely finished, that dash. Everything's hooked up. I'm really happy with how that's turned out. But what I've discovered, there's a couple of little pieces that go here. I'm just going to make them until I can find them, get the original ones, but I want to see what they look like, but I reckon I can just make those. So they'll be getting made. I'm pretty happy with the whole thing. It turned out really nice. Close view of it. And that thing was all bent. That's the horn switch. You just flick that down, that's your horn. Trip meter. High beam, I've tested every light bulb, all the switches, everything works. I think I just said it before, this car never had a heater. It doesn't have a heater. The Deera model, the N, that has a heater and probably has a radio. But they got everything else. Anyway, that's it for now. This dash has come out really good. I'm very happy with it. So I'll bung this on a video. Next thing getting worked on will be the windscreen, all this frame and everything, and I'll throw that on. And I'm going to get a guy to make up the carpets. We've decided to put black carpet, but the seats and the door trims and everything's going to be red. There's that key thing. That was completely stuffed. I could have, if I was going to get that chromed, I could have done it perfectly, but that's how it's getting done. Like I said, I've said along, it's not my car, this is how it's getting done. There's going to be a few things get done in the future. The only thing I haven't hooked up actually is the steering column. That's that loom hanging down there. That's for the blinkers and whatnot. So the steering column, actually this week I will be also doing the steering column and the window frame. And I'll install all that, and then that's pretty much it for until this is ready 100% to go on the. Well, no, never 100%, but it's ready to go on the chassis. Anyway, thanks for watching that.